Hello, my name is Eric Roeder, and I work in business development for Codilation. My team of elite nerds is dedicated to helping turn big ideas into first customers. Building apps and helping develop new businesses allows me to meet amazing people. These people are doing amazing things in our tech community and my actual community of Fargo, North Dakota. I wanted to start a platform to help business leaders and other great people in our community tell their story. Connecting with amazing people is my job. Welcome to my office. My guest this week is Chris from Enlight. Chris came to us with an idea a few years ago, and we built the foundation of his app that helps teachers connect to students better. Since the launch of his initial product, Enlight has really gotten some steam, and it's going to change education. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it this week. Welcome. I'm here with Chris of Enlight, and your journey is amazing, and I'm excited to tell the story of this. But first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So I'm a West Fargo grad.
Yep.
I am straight from the jungles of Africa, call it that. And I moved here in 2010. I have a family of like 12 people, just too much. And yeah, I started this company where we're just helping kids express themselves and their ideas, so adults can help them realize their fullest potential.
And I love it. And so you, based on that idea, you started Enlight. And can you talk about what Enlight is?
Yeah, Enlight is really was born out of desperation, I guess, to maybe connect a little bit more with the educators in my life. When I moved here to America, one of the biggest things I was just so passionate about was going to school. And like when I came here, the perception versus the experience was kind of totally different. And so I kept hearing these like no's of people saying, wow, like, you know, TV was going to change education, or the internet was going to change education, and like all these mediums. But like none of it really did anything until today. And so for me, coming here as an outsider coming in, and like really saying like we're nowhere close to like the revolution of education. And for me, I just started noticing how the relationships that I had with my teachers affected how I interacted with them in the classroom, and maybe even outside the classroom sometimes. And so I had an amazing ELL teacher who was able to like take me under her wing and really show me the ropes of how to live in this new society I just came in.
Sure.
I didn't know any English. And I'm a very social person, so I love people. So it was really hard for me being the only Swahili-speaking kid really in the middle school I was in, besides just my older brother.
As if middle school isn't tough enough.
Yeah, right. So a new country, brand new environment. You know, you're coming from like the jungles really, and then you're put in America to come study with a notion of, wow, you're gonna be doing all these crazy innovative things, because that's what I saw in movies.
Right.
I saw the kids in America wearing lab coats and, really following their passion is what I thought was going to be happening. And for me, I always just felt like there was this conflict between my passions and my education. And there was no way to merge those together. And so I'm hoping to bring that to American schools, to where kids' passions are also seen, or really just measuring what standardized tests don't really measure for students.
Right.
Which usually just kills our creativity and sometimes in our curiosity. So for me, it was just looking at the data between the kids who are coming from kindergarten, and they rate their school experience as really high because they get one teacher sometimes that spends more time with them.
Yep.
But as time starts to go, you start to see the graph go down of like how worse it gets of kids who are not engaged in school. So for me, it was like taking those and, taking this empathetic problem solving and knowing that it's the humans who are really the biggest factor in delivering an exceptional educational experience. And that's really why I'm starting this whole thing.
I love that. And I think back to even just all of my schooling. I was so much more successful and I learned so much more when I built a mild connection with my teacher.
Yeah.
And it didn't even have to be a crazy one, but just like I kind of liked them and they kind of got me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I was on the same boat. Like, so that's the thing where for us as students, you sit in the classroom and it's just, you feel like it's just you because it's you, but you just forget to look in the back and see that there's, 29 other kids sometimes who are also longing for the same attention you're looking for, right?
Yes.
So it's like, when does a teacher have time to get to know all of you and all your passions? And then especially with kids like me who are like, my father was working 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. And my mom was working a lot also. So sometimes, like, even though they cared so much about my education, but sometimes like you just don't have time to talk to them or them pushing you. Right. So but the educators sometimes are there to do that job, but they can't do that job. You cannot teach who you don't know. You can't inspire who you don't know. So it's really hard for them to do their job, especially when 85% of them go into teaching to make a difference. And so it's really just this empathy gap between a kid wanting to be engaged and teachers wanting to engage, but they don't really know each other at all. And so
right. So walk us through the first process of that, because I remember I was beta testing it like way back in the day, and I just thought it was so interesting. And as someone who's like a relatively good communicator, it's like, oh, if my teachers had this and knew that I was like an extroverted learner and that I liked Star Wars and Harry Potter and baseball, and that, without even trying in most classes, I get a B, so I'm going to be a wild distraction if you don't kind of rein that in. Like, kind of go through the process of, student, first day of class, student goes through Enlight, and what's that like?
Yeah, so the way teachers are currently using our product is that on the first day of school, students are building these beautiful profiles. And what these profiles do for the teacher is visualize a student in a way where it's very easy for them to get to know them. And so really the biggest innovation here comes to where teachers are already doing this. There were, the little note cards, and sometimes on the first day of school, the icebreakers that you'd have, but they would have them in note cards, or like they're just doing it super old school. They never have time to look at those note cards. When you have 140 kids in one day telling you about their interests and their passions and stuff, you can only remember
the really loud, funny ones. And I was memorable as a really loud, funny one, but a lot of the universe it balances itself. My sister was really quiet. And so I see her saying, "Oh, my interests are like blank and blank and blank," and that just falling through the cracks.
Yeah, but it's the quiet kids that are home coding. And doing these crazy, amazing things.
I know.
But so for me, it's what I'm so passionate about is really I believe there's this wasted talent in education systems to where a lot of kids are passionate about things, but they're either scared not only to take the leap to do it, but they're scared also sometimes to go to a teacher and says, "Hey, I am interested in this, or I'm passionate about this.
Oh, sure.
How can you help?" And this is what my product really kind of is trying to get to. And maybe a kid doesn't have a passion, right?
Right.
And they don't put it yet. They haven't found it yet. But the teacher gets to know that, and maybe they start working with the kid throughout the years to say, "Hey, maybe we can take some of your interests and turn them into a passion." And so to really just visualize it, what we do is we ask students, tell us 6 things that you're really interested in right now. And, these are very visual icons. We also ask students, what are you passionate about and why? And these are questions that a lot of students don't really even get in the classroom, and even sometimes out of classrooms, to be honest. But we also ask students on top of that. So by grabbing their interests, their passions, we ask about their aspirations. What do you care about? And that really comes from a question that Dr. Flowers, who's one of my mentor, he's a superintendent at West Fargo, but he's like, if you ask students, if you could solve any problem in your community or the world, what would it be?
Yeah.
Then you get to really understand what these kids care about. And as you know, kids these days, climate change activists, right?
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff to care about right now.
Yeah.
That needs a little bit of.
Exactly.
That needs some caring.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we do is we try to figure out, like, how can we bring the student out to express themselves, their true identity, to an educator who's going into teaching to make a difference in their lives.
Right.
They're not getting paid enough to do it. The reason why they stay is because of that. They want to make that change. Yeah. And so why not let them make that change at scale? And that's what we're really trying to do.
Well, and I think something like this, going back to middle school, is when you can't care about anything and you have to be like the most like boxed in person. Like I think it's at the same time people would secretly say, okay, like this and this and this and this. Teacher can only know this.
Yeah. Like, and so for us, it's like, there's a lot. The things we're starting to see is this subliminal data that is being put to where, like, a student, for example, would put in for example, we had a student that when we asked if you could solve any problem in your community or the world, what would it be? He said something that was, to an extent of like alcoholism, right? And so I got a text from a teacher saying, there's something going on. So they were able to help that kid by finding out that at home there was something going on.
Right.
So it's like, it's a weird way for I don't know if it's like weird, but it's like the best way for a kid to express themselves. And sometimes you start to get the data behind the data.
Yeah.
And so it's like this little just subliminal things that are coming out to where if a kid is only interested in two things, that's an access point. Or if like, hey, because some kids, and this is what we've seen, when kids are building, when we ask these open-ended questions of what are you passionate about, one kid would only put, for example, I like science, but what about science do you like? But even if they just put I like science, that gives a teacher data to start a conversation with that kid. It's like, hey, I saw you put science on here. Why do you like science? And then the kid can, hey, I like science because this
awesome.
Could go a little bit deeper about it, right?
And different aspects, because there's biology, there's chemistry, it's all across the board. Yeah,
so it's these simple access points to like a conversational starter for kids who you might really not really connect with, naturally sometimes.
And again, I think that if I was a teacher, and I've thought about being a teacher, I would want, if someone's got like a C or a B and they're just kind of floating by and they say alcoholism is what I would solve.
Yeah.
That makes me just completely change the way I interact with them. And if they start to slip a little bit, then I'm talking to the counselor. Like there's much different aspects of that. And I what you're doing is really special. And like,
the crazy part is like, it started to happen to where I didn't think, kids would put anything like that on there. Right. And for me, those are things that I'm working with someone at Oklahoma State University. She's a professor there, but I'm working with her to start figuring out like what are the best ways to also even protect kids when they start putting this type of information on there. Because we're learning that like kids want to express themselves. But now it's like, how do we help them express themselves safely? And that's what we're currently trying to crack that down right now.
God, I like that. So last time, and I've hardly seen you since like we did all of the beginning stuff, and you were in our office like once a week, and then you won the Entrepreneur Rookie of the Year at 1 Million Thanks. It was like, that was really exciting, and then COVID happened, and we had lunch like once. Since then, you've been to Techstars in Austin. Can you talk about that and like what that process is?
Yeah, that was really one of the best experiences I've gone really as an entrepreneur. I applied at Techstars Austin with Amos, and like, man, you go to college, you go to university, and you take the entrepreneurship classes and all these things, right? But this is just different. It's different. Yeah. It's intense. And yeah, but I learned a lot. And I found a lot about myself going through that. And we could honestly talk about a little bit more about what I was learning, depending on where you want to go.
Yeah, go. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
And again, what is Techstars, and what was the best thing that you learned there?
Yeah, so obviously, Techstars is this tech accelerator. One of, I would say, the best in the world. And they teach you how to build a business, not just a startup.
Sure.
And that for me was what I was really excited for. And, they put in $100K. It's actually harder, which for me, this was like the craziest part. So just for the record, NDSU did not accept me when I applied. But it's way harder to get into like Techstars than Harvard, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
But like, but we did it, and it's all about the, like showing resiliency and relationships and all these things and building something meaningful for the world. Those are the type of companies, and that for me was like the biggest change. I always thought like people like Techstars were like the hard, like, oh, we want you to be super businessy, but they're looking for passion, because passionate people who know how to not only work with people but talk with people, like those are the people that go to change the world.
Yeah.
And so that for me was one of the things I learned. But the biggest thing, I found two things. First of all, I learned why I actually love entrepreneurship. And for me, it really is the same thing of like, it's because like this whole journey of my life, it's just been education. I love learning. And, in high school, the reason why I was so like, and by the way, this is like from really, really hard program. But like, as I'm going through it, I'm like, whoa, like, why do I love this thing? Called entrepreneurship, But for me, like through high school, I'm like going through it. And I'm like, I'm learning this math stuff. Sure, teacher, like I care about the American Revolution and all these things. I care. But like let's talk about this other stuff going on over here. Like, what about that? But we never have time to talk about those things, right? So for me, I'm just this person who's agnostic. I love learning everything. I'm so curious. And what I found out is, well, if you're that type of person, entrepreneurship is for you. Yeah. Because you get to learn everything. From finance, history, research,
you can't have a great idea.
Yeah,
you have to know taxes and
everything,
accounting,
everything,
and HR policies. To
yeah. It's the only. I don't know if it's the only field, but so far from what I know, it's the only thing that's allowed me to learn everything. I can design. I can if I wanted to. There's marketing, right? There's research. I love the academia side, trying to figure out what is the data looking like. There's statistics when we start getting conversion rates and all this. There's math, right? So there's everything. Yeah. In building a business, and it's the field, right? So for me, that's one of the things I really came out of Techstars learning. The other thing is I got to find my dream, I think, of what I want to do besides just like building companies, right? I was like, what do I really want to do? And for me, it was being on this Zoom call with these amazing individuals with beautiful stories. And getting to build relationships with people I've never met in my life, but I love them to death. And it was through that I came to realize, I was like, you know what? I want to meet more people like this. I want to meet more people like this around the world. So I really came up with this, I call it one of my dreams now is to just go live around the world in different places and meet amazing people.
But you learn so much from everywhere you go.
From everywhere you go, yeah, because, like one of the things, like I believe one of the things that and by you experiencing the world, it makes you very unique because you have very different perspectives on how life works. And so for me, that's one of the biggest things I came out of Techstars with, is like, wow, these people in Colombia, Switzerland, like, all these people are just amazing and they're doing crazy things. I want to go, like, live in Colombia for 6 months. I think that would be amazing.
Amazing and terrifying and
right.
awesome. But I mean, you're brave enough already. I can do it, man.
I mean, like, yeah, but it's like I just wanna go live with amazing people, and also for my community here in Fargo. Like, I want to be able to bring resources back here.
Yeah.
Because we're learning so much. I was the president of Entrepreneurship Club at NDSU. The network I've been able to build. Like, think about how many of these other kids at NDSU are going to be, like, literally, like, benefiting because I now know all these people.
Yes.
So if a kid, comes through NDSU and is looking for connections elsewhere, I'm there.
People from Colombia,
everywhere.
Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wow, that's and again, I think your network is so important, and a lot of people don't quite understand that until too late. And so you've learned it early, so good job.
I always say people know people who know people who know people, and that could go forever.
It's exponential. Yeah. And so what's next for Enlight?
So we just got done with Techstars. Demo day was amazing, and we're building a team. That's the next stage.
Sure.
We, it's kind of funny. Like, it's hard sometimes to find talent here. But after demo day, the amount of requests I started getting of people who are really passionate about this, because, like, that's the beauty of this product or this problem. For me, I fall in love with the problem instead of the solution, really. But the beauty of this problem is that it's relatable
to everyone
who's gone to school ever, right?
And, like, even the loud, distracting, memorable person like me.
Yeah.
I still had math teachers that I'm like, I don't connect with this person at all.
So we're getting superstars that are just, like, ready. So for me, being 23 years old and getting people who are very, like, yo, you should be my mentor. I shouldn't be, like, managing you as a CEO. Like, it's terrifying but very excited, because it just goes back to that notion of what Steve Jobs always says, of, like, you hire smart people to tell you what to do, right?
Or Eric.
But yeah, so that's what I'm really excited for. The next stage is for us to build a team. I'm building an exceptional engineering team right now. It's just literally this earlier I was talking to just amazing engineers, and then we're gonna raise money and build this company to where it needs to be.
So how can anyone watching this or audience help?
Well, like I said, if you we're looking for people who would love to market, and like, marketing is one of the other hires we're looking to do. So reach out enlightapp.co or DEIEUM at enlightapp.co is my email. Just hit me up on there.
Yep, and I'll have Maddie put all of that information in the... Yeah. We'll make a graphic, because we have a marketing person.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's great. But yeah, so we're looking for engineers, anybody who's passionate about building things that could actually change the world for the better.
And I don't think anyone gets into the engineering field without that.
Yeah, so hit me up if you're interested.
I like that. And so, we'll finish it up with the nerd question. What was your favorite, you talk about this app that connects teachers and students.
Yeah.
What was your favorite subject, even though you said you like learning everything, but do you have a favorite subject going through school?
Wow, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me see. Wow. I've never really thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would have to think back to like, I'm like swimming through my favorite teachers right now. And if they're listening, I love you all. But I would say I had a lot of fun in my it's just kind of crazy story. So one of the best classes that I just had so much fun with is my 11th grade English teacher. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really good at, like, I've gotten really good at public speaking.
Right.
And we drove her crazy. Call it that. We drove her crazy. We weren't the best students, but we drove her nuts. But she taught me how to speak, how to talk to people, how to give speeches. She did that. And like every time I'm about to get into a meeting that's very important, like she taught me how to, like, you know, bra 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 pa 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 pa, like to get my mouth ready to talk. And so for me, I love that class because I got to debate people. I got to so I think the English classes were just sometimes really, really fun.
My mom's an English teacher. She's going to like that. So yeah, Nerd Questions means it's time to wrap things up. Did you have anything else?
No, just really grateful to be here. This was really fun. Just let me know if you ever wanted to chat again.
I will bug you again, because your journey and you're changing the world and with software, and that's the funnest story that I get to tell as a marketer for a software company, where you started, you know, like 3 years ago. This is my idea, and like where you are now. It's just a pleasure to watch your journey, and it's exciting. So yeah, thanks everyone, and have a good week.